Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I will be transitioning this watch channel into a Bitcoin investing channel. And Bitcoin is something I invested in 2017, but mainly in 2018. The majority of my Bitcoin is invested there at 3,000 USD. And I've held on to it for around 7 to 8 years now. And I have not sold, even though price went to 69K the last cycle and dropped back down to 16K in the next cycle, which is this cycle. And it's now rallied to 105K, 104K, as you can see here. And I still have not sold. And this video is just to explain what I expect in the near future for Bitcoin, especially for this year until October 2025. So what I expect is a repeat of what happened last year when the 4 impulse to the trend line resistance happened and a breakout for 108K, 109K. So what I expect is the same thing, that we are experiencing a breakout from the trend line resistance from the correction of this year for 5 months. And for this entire month, we have been rallying. And I expect the rally to continue. And we go upwards of 150K to 200K. And we may have an overperformance to 250K, but I will not bet my chances on that. And I would sell all my investments from 2018 at around, I think, 195K, because I do not want to risk the price not meeting my ultimate target of 200K and me failing to cash out and price to drop down. And so what I expect for Bitcoin to do in the next 3 months, next 4 to 5 months is exactly that. By October 2025, it will go to 150K to 200K. And then next year, it will drop down drastically and drop back down to 40 to 60K. And this drop back down, ultimate bottom value, depends on how high we go for the next 4 to 5 months. If it goes to 250K, then it might only go back to around 80 to 100K. But if it only goes to 150K, then it will drop back down to 40 to 60K likely. So this is my overall view of what will happen for Bitcoin. And for the short term, well, for the short term, I am quite bullish because I'm using right now an indicator made by Tone Vays, and you should all follow Tone Vays. He has a YouTube channel on the Financial Summit, and he has a great indicator which is paid, but it's very nice, and it's very often correct in terms of trend changes and also trend continuation signal. And right now we're sitting at a MRI reset. So MRI is the indicator name, momentum reversal indicator, the full name. And right now we reset the MRI count. So the MRI count should have signaled a MRI sell signal, so MRI top sell signal today if it did not reset a few days before. But it reset a few days before from a 5 to a 1. If it was a 5 to a 9, the 9 will become a MRI top sell signal. But I did not go into that. It's reset, and now it's very bullish in resetting the count and having consolidation right now before I move higher. And we experienced a green star candle earlier yesterday, and just now we had a red star candle which signals basically a consolidation trend before a move higher. And a bullish move higher into a consolidation often leads to a continuation of a bullish move even higher. And we can see from the recent history of last month that this is indeed what happened. Consolidation up, consolidation up. And I expect this to be a consolidation and a breakup upwards in the near future for maybe next week or the week after. And a drop and a trend change often is led by a 10 to 20% correction before the trend changes. And I do not see that happening. This only fell around 5%. I think it's 106 over here. Yeah, 105. And dropped to 100K. And it was a 5% decrease, not a 10 to 20%. If I see a drop back down to 94K, 90 to 94K, then I will consider a trend change, and maybe we last longer for a correction downwards before I move higher to 150 to 200K. But right now things are looking good, and it seems that price wants to go up to test the all-time high of 109K. But we will see. There has been good news. Yesterday, the United States inflation data shows that inflation is slowing down. In fact, it's 2.3%, which is to the 2% Fed target, and it risk of being below the Fed target of 2%. So last decade, we had inflation data of consistently below 2%, which is basically deflation in terms of the Fed description. So we had the Fed reduce interest rates to 0% in order to boost up the economy in hopes of having inflation up towards a 2% target. And right now we are seeing a slowdown of inflation even towards the vicinity of below the 2% target. So I expect the Fed to cut rates in the near future to avoid the same thing to happen this decade, the same as last decade. So if you get what I mean is, I mean to avoid the same situation from last decade happening for this decade. So things are looking good, and I expect Bitcoin to rally from here on. And also I expect the stock markets and also the Hang Seng Index market to rally to new all-time highs very soon. But Bitcoin will top likely by October this year, and it will fall drastically next year. And I'll illustrate my expectation over here. So by October this year, a top of around 150K to 200K, and then a drastic drop to 50K. So that's it, and I'll see you on the next one.